The Carolina Panthers just beat the New York Jets in Week 7 of NFL football, bringing them to a winning record of 4-3 for the first time in 4 years. And this was our first road win of the season as well, which is pretty incredible. So there's a few things I want to touch on in this video, a few pros, a few cons from this game. So the first thing I'll mention, we had an incredible defense, okay? We had 5 sacks in the first 6 weeks of this year, and in this game alone, we had 6 sacks. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. And I believe Derek Brown had 2, Princely had 1, or half of 1, Nick Scorton had 1.5, Ashawn Robinson had 1, and Trayvon Merrick had 1. So overall, it was a great showing from the defense. J.C. Horn also had 2 interceptions. I mean, it was absolutely amazing. Like, the defense won this game for us, okay? Because the score, for those of you who don't know, 13-6, very low-scoring game. Now, there are some reasons that we didn't score more, but we'll get into that later. First, I want to touch on Rico Dowdle. 17 carries for 79 yards. Obviously, nothing special in the run game there. He was also splitting with Chuba, who had 14 for 31. But with that performance from Rico, he has gone up into the top 3 in total rushing yards in the entire NFL, which is pretty crazy. He's got 98 carries for 551 yards. Like, that's pretty insane, especially because he's done most of that in 2 games, basically, and then this game just helped him get there. But he had 183 yards last week and then like 206 the week before. So great rushing from him. I think this next week against the Bills, which I'll get into a little bit later, we got to use him a lot. But before I talk about that, a few more things from this game I want to mention. Xavier Legette, 9 receptions, 92 yards, and a touchdown. Absolute breakout game for him. I think this is the best game he's had in his career so far. He's still very young. You know, we've been waiting for this performance because he's been doing not very bad, but he started very bad this season. You know, he didn't do much in the Jags game, and then he had negative yards on 8 targets in the Cardinals game, and then he was injured for a couple weeks. Like, it just wasn't looking well, but he came back, scored that touchdown against Miami, and only had an upward trajectory from there, and this game was like the pinnacle of it. Like, he had a great game. I hope he has a 100-yard game soon, though. I also want T-Mac to get more yards, but you know, that's not related. Xavier Legette had a great game, and that's very good for the future. Now, what else? There is something very, very sad that we have to talk about here. Bryce Young's injury. It's a high ankle sprain. Typically, players miss about 2 to 4 weeks for this. Dave Canales, the head coach, is currently saying that he could miss at most 1. He's still saying he's day-to-day, but all like the reports on everything from the media is saying that Bryce Young's for sure out against the Bills. Which is very sad. You know, like, what football do I even have to look forward to? I was excited for this game, and we don't even have Bryce playing it. It's going to be Andy Dalton instead. Now, it's not over, right? I don't want to lose complete hope in this game because the Bills' defense has been not good. They're ranked 31st in rushing defense, and we've had a great rushing attack the last 3 weeks. Not so much against the Jets, but the weeks before when Chuba was injured, we were absolutely cooking. And those were bad rush defenses. The Bills, a bad rush defense. We can totally take advantage of that. I'm saying start Rico and, you know, bring Chuba in as well, right? Don't avoid Chuba. You know, split their carries. I'd say lean more to Dowdle, though, because he's had more success. And just run the ball. Pound the ball. Keep running it down their throats. Just keep running it. And if we don't find success in the run game, we're definitely cooked. Because Andy Dalton, I'm sorry, he's just not Bryce Young, okay? I'm not saying Bryce Young is some amazing quarterback, but Bryce Young has been very clutch in the fourth quarter of these games, and he's very good at extending plays. He can move out of the pocket, he can scramble, he can extend a play, and then he can make a great play, and he can make a good pass. Andy Dalton definitely has a stronger arm, which is an advantage. We might be able to stretch the field a little bit more and have an opportunity there, which would be great. But he can't move because he's an unk, he's old. So that's already a big disadvantage. You know, he's not even playing consistently anymore. You know, he's a backup quarterback. So I'll hope for the best. We have to have the run game working so that we can allow our pass game to thrive. We can open up pass plays with play action. That's what we have to hope for. But even I feel like the Bills secondary, I think the Bills secondary has decent stats to be fair. But the rush defense, we have to take advantage of that. They're probably going to stack the box at least in the beginning because Andy Dalton he didn't play well in the preseason, which is honestly my main concern. He didn't play well against the Jets. Going back to the Jets game, when Bryce Young got injured and he was taken out, I mean Andy Dalton, like the offense looked pitiful. Our defense won that game, which is great. I saw somewhere like if we can have our offense play the way they played against Dallas and our defense play the way they played against the Jets, ooh, Super Bowl contenders are there. You know what I mean? Now you got to have some context. The Jets have one of the worst offenses, and the Cowboys at least had up to that point one of the worst defenses. They played decent against the Commanders, but still. But I mean, yeah, we just have to perform in the run game, and Andy Dalton has to make the completions that he's required to. I think we should go for screens, short completions, maybe a couple deep throws here and there when the pass game is opened up because of our run game. But our run game has to succeed. We need a beast of a game from Rico Dowdle and Chuba. Like we need them. We need them working. We need them working. I'm still not as excited for Sunday as I would typically be. Normally, I love watching the Panthers play on Sunday. Even when they play terrible, it's something to look forward to. But this week, like I haven't, it's not as exciting because I know Bryce Young won't be playing, which sucks. No disrespect to Andy Dalton, but Bryce Young is our quarterback. Overall, unfortunately, I do think the Bills are going to end up beating the Panthers, which sucks. We'll lose the home win streak in that scenario, but I'll still have hope going into Sunday. We'll see what happens. Thank you for listening. Have a good one.